Welcome to the Senior Community Center Something to Talk About program, sponsored by Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island, which offers independent and assisted living and memory care all up on Rolling Bay. They are a new facility and they'd love to give a tour to you. So if you'd like to drop by, call first 360-594-1010. 360-594-1010. And I'd also like to acknowledge that we meet on the ancestral homeland of the Suquamish people, the people of the clear salt water, who have lived on the Salish Sea since time immemorial. We are grateful for their hospitality and we seek healing. With us today, Ryan Hughes, who is a consultant, but today he's here to talk to us a little bit about his work with the city of Bainbridge Island on our comprehensive plan. Let's just start, Ryan, by describing what the idea of a comprehensive plan is and how it affects, why we need to do it.
You got it. Well, thank you again, Reed, for inviting me to this talk, and I hope it's beneficial to your viewers. Again, my name is Ryan Hughes. I work with a consulting firm out of Spokane called Nexus Planning. We are city planners, and we work with communities throughout Washington and other places to support their long-range planning efforts. A little bit of history with me. I actually am a former city planner with the City of Bainbridge Island, so I do have some history with working in the community. So your question, what is a comprehensive plan? Well, comprehensive plan generally is a plan that communities adopt for themselves, which contains background information, data, any sort of relevant facts and figures that a community might want to know about themselves, and including sort of the vision for the community's future. And why that's important is because we need vision, right, to know where we're going and have that roadmap. So why are we looking at the comp plan right now? Why are we opening it up and having this conversation? Well, in Washington State, per statute and per the Washington Growth Management Act, communities are encouraged, and more than that, are required to open up their comprehensive plans roughly every 7 years to just evaluate the policies, the goals, the objectives that are within their comp plan, just to ensure that they're still meeting the needs and the vision of the community. And more so, the state policies and statutes that have changed are meant to be also reviewed at that same time. So each community maintains consistency with the Growth Management Act. So that's why we call it a comprehensive plan periodic review update. It's a lot of phrasing, but that's what the states calls it.
So would that apply not only to incorporated municipalities like the city of Bainbridge Island, but other types of community like the unincorporated areas or the countywide itself?
That's correct. Yeah, each community, and if we had the Growth Management Act's map up on the wall, you could see where different communities have sort of a prescribed timeline where they're updating their comprehensive plans. And the Greater Puget Sound region, their timeline is roughly 2024, 2025 for those community adoptions. So presently, Kitsap County, along with other municipalities and unincorporated areas, including the county, are currently updating their plans as well.
Great. So we have this obligation, but it's also an opportunity, right? Can you say a little bit about that?
That's correct. Yeah, and I think that's where your viewers and listeners might find interest, is that as a community, we have an opportunity, like I said, to open up our books and take a look, and really it boils down to a community conversation about sort of this 20-year future of how we expect or we envision the community to look like. And so you may have seen in your mailbox or emails or other social media posting about an opportunity that's coming up on the 27th, which will be kicking off the comprehensive plan project. It will also be kicking off our engagement series with the community, where we are inviting folks to come to Woodward Middle School 4:00 that evening to begin with an open house where folks can collect information. We'll have some information boards, and there'll be stations where folks, representatives from the city staff, as well as the consultants, will be on hand to answer questions and kind of discuss the process. We'll move from the open house to a more formal workshop where there'll be tables, roughly 4 to 8 folks at a table, and we're going to put you to work. I'm going to give you a bit of an assignment, and we'll be looking at the community's vision. We'll be looking around issues of the environment, and then the bulk of it will be discussing various policy questions that we'll put forth to community members, and we'll be eliciting their feedback.
So you'll end up with some sort of a sense of kind of in broad strokes, what are areas that are important to those people who take the time to show up and tell you. And then are those then translated into specific suggested policies or code changes or anything like that?
That's correct. So we're really trying to come at it from a broad to specific exercise where we really are here to listen. We do have, certain thematic elements around housing, land use, transportation. These are all of the elements or chapters of the comprehensive plan that we want to be sort of honing in on. And there's some questions based out of our policy audit and research that we've been doing in the leading up to this that will be put forward to the community. So yes, the question is, will we be taking that information, collecting it, assessing it, analyzing it, and incorporating that into a series of recommendations before Planning Commission and Council going forward.
So after this initial sort of gathering of a sense from the community of what things might be important, as you start to narrow it or try to translate that information into specific recommendations, will there be other opportunities for the community to see which way it's or how it's going along the road?
Sure. Yeah. So maybe I should step back. This is envisioned to be about a 2-year project. So like I said, we're kicking off the public engagement portion of it just now. This is not the one-time opportunity. We'll have plenty of opportunity, including an online version of the workshop materials that we'll be presenting on the 27th. So if you can't make it on the 27th, on the 28th, that information will be available online for you to take your time at home and participate in the same way that participants that come in person. At the same time, we anticipate this to be iterative. So as vision and policy guidance comes forward, we expect to further refine down the way with additional in-person events.
Well, with your experience here on Bainbridge and as in the world of urban planning, the challenge of trying to get citizens to engage early, I'm sure, is one you've encountered several times. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important to get involved right away, not to wait a little further down the path? It makes your job easier, I'm sure.
It makes all of our jobs easier. I mean, in fact, the language in the Growth Management Act talks about engaging early and often, and that's coming from the city side or what the city is required to do. But that's an open invitation to the community, and having that voice as early on in the process is beneficial to all, so that we understand what the major concerns are. Not only concerns, but what are your hopes? What are your dreams? What are your visions? What is your aspirations for the future of Bainbridge Island?
So I mean, that's a very big question, right? I mean, I'm involved in a process as well, just in a non-governmental way of having conversations with people about the idea of a North Star of what we want this community to be. And we're kind of, in my view, at a critical inflection point. We've changed from an island that had a large percentage of rural or semi-rural, had extensive farming, to with some high-priced property around the edges, to an island that is pretty much high-priced from every corner to corner, every ravine to hillside to beach. And that sort of is going to get more that way, I'm imagining, if we don't speak up and talk a little bit about what our goal is for this community as a whole.
I'm glad you bring that up. Housing will be a major topic that we discuss on the 27th and going forward, because not only does the community have sort of envisions for themselves, and like you said, affordability is a major concern statewide, but the Growth Management Act has some requirements of how communities are meant to be planning for various income segments.
I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how the comprehensive plan relates to another kind of major public planning process for the Winslow sub area, another delightfully named process, and how those two things are going to fit together from your perspective, working on the comprehensive plan.
Certainly. So this is Bainbridge is ambitious, to say the least. We really have been inspired by the work of the Winslow sub area and what's coming out of that. And there's been some real interesting engagements and a lot of community feedback. We are not directly contracted to work with that project. However, we are in almost weekly coordination with that team, because what happens in Winslow, and what I'm understanding is that Winslow is leading the way. So Winslow is the primary sort of focal point of where the community might expect future growth. At the same time, what comes out of the Winslow project has a direct relationship on what happens to the rest of the island. So the policy implications of how much housing, how many new jobs we expect, what's the increased population growth within the Winslow sub area. We, as the comprehensive plan team, are taking into account, or need to take into account, all of those sort of policy outcomes, or the preferred alternative is what sort of we're leading to, so we can essentially plan for the flip side of what comes out of Winslow.
And as you said a minute ago, if you're not able to attend the in-person event at Woodward, after that, there will be an online way to fill out a survey and participate. And then there'll be more information that'll come up as you go along. Are you going to be having a website or some sort of a location where we can sort of see where you are on the path, and be alert to opportunities to either observe, comment, or well, do something besides just stew on any frustration?
You got it. So there already is a website, which is great, and that's a repository of all the information that gets put forward. So when we have our community events and we receive the feedback and consolidate that feedback into the report, community members will be able to reference that on that particular website, and that's on the city's website in their comprehensive plan page. And like you said, once that online survey engagement is available, we'll certainly have that posted there, so folks can click that and link to it and provide their additional comments. So yeah, we don't want folks stewing. We want them to have the ability to share any comments and suggestions that they might want to put forward.
Great. Well, that website is bainbridgewa.gov, and let's see if I can have Zoom cooperate here, and I can at least to share what it looks like for you. Hello, maybe not. It's always challenging with these jumping windows. Okay. So it's bainbridgewa.gov, and I see that it's listed right there on the front page of the website under quick links. It says comprehensive plan right there. So that's a good place to find it. And if you want to review this video later, you can find it at youtube.com/BI Senior Center, and share it with your friends and neighbors, and show up. Anything that we didn't touch on, Ryan, that you wanted to make sure we did?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just wanted to make sure that folks know they're welcome to come, bring your ideas around those policy questions for the community: housing, land use, transportation, water resource, climate, capital facilities, utilities. These are all topics of discussion.